What good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got grading the 2021 NFL Draft 4 years later. Let's check this out.
The 2021 NFL Draft class is 4 years into their careers, and in today's video, we're going to be going back and grading the back half of the first round, which is picks 17 through 32. We graded picks 1 through 16 in last week's video, and that will be linked at the end. The 2021 draft class was a very talented class, especially in the upper half of the first round, and I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that several players from this class are on a Hall of Fame trajectory. But what about the back half of the first round? Well, we're going to break everything down in today's video. As always, we will be going in reverse order, and we'll be starting with the Bucs selection of pass rusher Joe Tryon-Shoyinka.
And that nigga on a new team. I think he on the Browns now, right?
Leatherwood. And we all know why we're here, so let's dive right in. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka
he didn't really pan out for the Bucs, bro.
Back in 2020,
which is sad because I really fucked with him coming out of college.
Performance against the Chiefs. I really liked this pick at the time because I thought the process from GM Jason Light was pretty simple, and it's that we already have a good roster and ultimately pass rush, so why not add to it by bringing in a solid prospect that we'll get to learn from veterans like Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. JPP was 32 at the time and obviously wasn't going to play forever, and this was a good pick to get ahead of a need a year or two in advance. But it doesn't always work out the way you plan, and JTS is a perfect example of this. In 4 years, he had just 15 sacks despite playing in 66 of 68 possible games, and what Bucs fans were frustrated with from Tryon-Shoyinka is when he would get in the backfield, he would over-pursue and miss out on the sack. And I do think actually sacking the quarterback is an art, and that sacks do matter to a degree, as sometimes
but I feel like pressures matter more than anything, bro.
Couldn't get the job
done. I'm gonna continue to say that, bro. Real shit.
He is now a member of the Browns, and this is a C-.
Okay.
Odafe Oweh.
Oweh, I ain't gonna lie, had a huge breakout season this year. His first double-digit sack season. Right now, I'm gonna give this. It's either a B+ or A, bro, because he has really improved over the last couple seasons. I just hope he gets better and better, man. You know what I'm saying? I hope this wasn't a fluke season. But that's been his problem, is not finishing sacks. But he was able to do that this year.
Really raw prospect coming out of Penn State.
Like Penn State got a whole bunch of freaks, bro.
He tested extremely well in the pre-draft process, as he was in the 90th percentile or better in every running or jumping drill. He's had 48 or more pressures in 3 of his 4 seasons, which is pretty consistent production, and I do think he's improved every year since entering the league, which specifically for him is huge because he was a project to begin with. He had a career-high 23 quarterback hits in 2024, as well as a career-high 10 sacks, and it is worth noting the Ravens picked up his 5th-year option last year, and that I'm sure both parties will be interested in a contract extension.
I wonder how much he gonna make, though.
He has consistently been a good player for the Ravens since being drafted, but never an elite player. He's definitely not in the top 5 or 10 edge rushing conversations, but Oweh will stick around.
He'll soon be there, though. Trust and believe.
Having a guy you can pencil in for 45 pressures or more in every season is huge.
Gotta be between a B+ or A-.
For him. Lifetime, he has 23 sacks and 7 forced fumbles, and he's been a pretty consistent player, and 4 years later, this is an A-.
Hey, I'll take it. Rousseau! I ain't gonna lie, he just got paid a big bag too, bro. Like, Rousseau, he a solid player. You know what I'm saying? He's still yet to have double-digit sacks, but he was top 10 in pressures this year, so he's starting to really, you know, put things together. But I feel like he's not going to be like a top 5 edge rusher or something like that. He's going to be solid for sure.
For years, Rousseau has 25 career sacks and has been a really solid player for Buffalo. He had a career-high 63 pressures in 2024, which was good for 12th in the NFL. Grading Rousseau is an interesting thought process because Rousseau,
I looked up on PFF. That shit was 10th for PFF.
Defense around, but a good player, and he's a guy that a lot of teams would love to have. And given what guys like Myles Garrett and Max Crosby have signed extensions for, and recently at that, it's pretty clear Rousseau is not on their level. And while not many players are, you can make a case that Greg Rousseau is pretty much everything the Bills have asked for when they were on the clock back in 2021. If you would have said that we are going to give this guy a second contract, and he will have back-to-back seasons of 55-plus pressures prior to his contract extension, the Bills and every other NFL team would sign up for that immediately. But because he's not a premier player at the position, the question becomes, how high of a grade can we give this pick? And for me, 4 years later, this pick gets an A-.
Okay.
The Packers selected
Eric
corner Eric
Stokes,
Stokes,
F.
and the hope with this pick was that
This
they would have
nigga
a
can
really
never
good
stay
corner duo
healthy,
of
bro.
Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes for the next few years. Stokes had a pretty solid
He has
rookie
so
season,
much
all things
potential, bro.
considered, as he played in 16 of 17 possible games and started 14 of them, and also had 14 pass deflections. But unfortunately, he missed a lot of time over the next 2 years as he suffered an ankle injury in 2022 that limited him to 9 games and had a hamstring injury in 2023 that limited him to just 3 games. So pretty quickly, Stokes went from a promising rookie corner to a player that played in just 12 of 34 possible games in year 2 and year 3. 2024 was a now or never season for him, and he didn't play bad in 2024, but he didn't play good either.
Damn.
The Packers could have had far worse than Eric Stokes at corner in 2024, and he is now
Is he a free
member
agent?
of the Raiders.
Oh, you on
He
the
started
Raiders
32
now?
games for the Packers
Damn.
over his time there and had a single
Trying to replace
interception.
Nate Hobbs.
He would probably be considered a draft disappointment, but as you'll see later in today's video, the Packers could have done a lot worse. 4 years later, this gets a D-.
Okay.
Peyton Turner was the
Peyton
Saints'
Turner-
first-round
Turner,
pick, and
ain't
hopefully
he on the-
because they
on the,
could initially
Cowboys
be a
now?
Robin to Cam Jordan's Batman.
Why he looking like
He
that?
would eventually take over as the team's premier pass rusher. It was also a surprise to a lot of people that Turner went in the first round, and the Saints were betting on his upside. Unfortunately, he only played in 5 games as a rookie, as he suffered a shoulder injury during his rookie year and was placed on injured reserve.
Okay.
And that would unfortunately be a theme for Turner throughout his Saints tenure, as he only played in 15 of 51 possible games
God
in the first
damn,
2 years of his
nigga.
career. 2024 was going to be
Bro.
a season in which he was not just fighting for his
Motherfucker
job,
made a
but
tissue.
for his career, and fortunately he played in 16 games in 2024 and was able to stay healthy for the first time in his career.
Finally.
The problem for the Saints was even when he was on the field in 2024, Turner wasn't good as he couldn't generate pressure consistently. He
tough.
missed more tackles than you would like when he was on the field and was a non-impact player. He signed with the Cowboys this offseason and finished his Saints career with less than 700 snaps played and had 5 sacks in 4 seasons. An F grade. Rashad Bateman was the
They
first of 2 first-round
Had a
picks
breakout
for
year
Bateman.
this year. I ain't gonna lie, I gotta give him a B, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got so much potential. Like, the same thing with him. He has not been able to stay healthy until this season. I said once he starts staying healthy, he gonna definitely be a top 5 receiver in this league, bro. And I'm gonna stand on that. Real shit. Great route runner, great separator, highest on one of the highest separation rates in the NFL this past season. Bateman can be one of the best receivers in this league, bro. Like, real shit. Now, he does have a little bit of drop issues, but like in the second half of the season, that nigga was a touchdown machine. Like, he definitely got to be a B plus right now. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
And when this pick
Gotta
was
be a
made,
B.
the thought process was that Lamar Jackson was going to have a good receiving duo to throw to for the next several years in Bateman and Hollywood Brown. And even if you want to say trio with Mark Andrews, then you would have a good receiving trio. Bateman didn't have a bad rookie season as he had over 500 yards in limited time and even had a 100-yard game, and the future looked bright. Hollywood was traded prior to the 2022 season, and it was effectively Bateman's time to shine. Unfortunately, he missed a lot of his second season as he only played in 6 games, and he only hauled in 15 receptions in those 6 games. 2023 was a frustrating year for Bateman as he caught just 32 passes in 16 games and had just 367 yards. Bateman had just 1,167 yards and 4 touchdowns in his first 3 years, but in 2024, he had a career high in receiving yards and touchdowns as he had over 750 yards and 9 touchdowns. Bateman isn't a bad player, but he certainly hasn't lived up to being a first-round pick as he has less
Because
than
he could never stay healthy. That's been his only problem, bro.
2,000 career receiving yards.
He gonna show y'all next season, bro.
This may go up if he has another good year in 2025, because 2024 looked like a legitimate breakout year, but for now, this pick
See?
is
Hell
C.
no, I gotta give him a B, bro.
Greg
Fuck
Newsome
that.
of the Browns is
Alright,
up, and
Greg
the hope
Newsome?
for this pick was that Newsome would be a good number 2 corner behind Denzel Ward. This selection was made when the Browns were coming off of a playoff win against the Steelers, and at the time, it looked like they were on the rise in the AFC. Selecting Newsome made a lot of sense because he was a really good corner at Northwestern, and as we know, you can never have enough corner help in today's NFL. He had
Facts.
a bit of a down year in 2020.
You need at least 3 good corners nowadays.
Player in the first 3 years of his career, as he had a career high in touchdowns allowed, as well as a career high
God
in opposer
damn.
passer rating when targeted. But for the most part, Newsome has been a viable starting corner since being a first-round pick 4 years ago. He hasn't been elite by any means. but
I've been
he's
hearing rumors about him
what
getting
you would
traded.
Expect from a number 2 corner in today's era.
Stiff-ass
When
braids.
push comes to shove, I think the Browns would like to extend him as he will be just 25 years old during the 2025 season. He's not a household name by any means, but he gets the job done. Sure, you can say you would have rather had more from a former first-round pick, but the Browns could have done a lot worse with this selection. A C-plus grade.
Okay.
Travis Etienne was the second running back drafted in consecutive.
He's been up and down. Like his first season, you know, so his rookie year, he didn't play much because of injuries. Like I fuck with Etienne. Last season he had a down year. I ain't gonna lie. Tank Bigsby definitely outperformed him. I feel like next season he gonna have a breakout year. I ain't gonna lie. I think he gonna have a breakout year next season
for a couple of reasons. Unfortunately,
I don't know what was his problem this past season.
Injury during the 2021 preseason and missed his entire rookie year. It was unfortunate, but injuries are a part of the game, and fortunately, since then, Etienne has played in 49 of 51 possible games for the Jags, and the results have been up and down, especially recently. He had back-to-back 1,400 total yard seasons in 2022 and 2023, but his yards per carry took a big turn in the wrong direction from 2022 to where we are today, as he's averaged 3.8 yards per carry or less over the last 2 years.
Damn.
I think two things can be true with Etienne.
That nigga sweat like crazy, man.
The offensive line wasn't great, and Etienne himself wasn't great either. I also personally think 2025 will be his final year as a Jag. I don't think he's been in a position to maximize his success.
And they do got Bigsby, so Bigsby might end up taking his starting job, bro.
Has limited his potential since being drafted. I think the talent is around an A- area, but with where we are today with Travis Etienne and what has been a complicated first 4 years of his career, this grade gets a B-.
Okay.
Najee Harris was the Pittsburgh Steelers' first round.
I ain't gonna lie, like the thing with Najee, he'll get you 1,000 yards, cool. But he's not really explosive for like his longest carry was like 37 yards with Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? Now he's a part of the Chargers now. I don't know how to grade this, bro. Like of course he does have 1,000-yard rushing seasons every year for his career, but his yards per carry is not where it needs to be. I'm gonna get this a B. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna get this like a B, a B minus. Because he does have 1,000 yards every single season of his career. But like, I don't know, bro. Najee's just not explosive. He run like mad stiff for some reason.
Having over 1,200 total yards in every season too.
Somebody say he run like he tore his ACL or some shit.
Running back in the first round. But Najee Harris isn't an elite running back by any means, and lifetime has averaged just 3.9.
And Jalen Warren been outperforming him, you know, since like what 2023.
Despite weighing 240 pounds, he doesn't exactly play like a 240-pound running back, meaning he's not as powerful as you would expect. He's not very efficient.
I ain't gonna lie. He need to lose a couple pounds in the offseason.
Isn't great either.
So he can try to get more explosive.
Steelers, he pretty much did what was expected of him. This is honestly why I think the Najee Harris selection is one of the more difficult ones to grade, because you can say he's not an elite player, and you would be right, but the production in theory is there. Najee signed with the Chargers this offseason, and 4 years later, this is a B.
B, okay, I'll take that.
Darrisaw was the Vikings first-round pick.
I'll grade this an A+. He did have a crazy knee injury this past season, but he's been really good for them ever since being drafted.
Due to a groin injury, but since he took over the starting job, he's been a really good player for Minnesota. He was playing at a really high level in 2024 before unfortunately suffering a knee injury, which prematurely ended his season. When healthy, Darrisaw is one of the best tackles in the NFL, and prior to the 2024 season starting, the Vikings gave Darrisaw a 4-year extension worth up to $113 million. Despite how good Darrisaw is, he doesn't have any Pro Bowls to his name, which I thought was a tad surprising. I mean,
we do have like a lot of good tackles in the NFC, bro.
Games, and given that he's missed nearly
in the league in general, but
games, I think that's pretty
NFC stat. You got Trent Williams, Penei Sewell. Who else?
The talent is an A+.
Can't think of nobody right now, but
acknowledge that. But due to the amount of
a lot of talented tackles in the NFC. Oh my gosh!
Future, this grade is an A.
An A.
Caleb Farley was a high-risk, high-reward cornerback coming out of Virginia Tech. As there
nigga couldn't stay healthy, and when he was healthy, he was getting fried, bro. It's a F. He was a Madden demon, though. Don't get me wrong. That nigga was a beast in Madden, but
unfortunately, Farley suffered a torn ACL in just week 6 of his rookie season, and in week 10 of his second season, suffered a herniated disc, which prematurely ended year 2. He didn't play at all in 2023 and unfortunately also suffered a personal tragedy prior to the 2023 season, and the Titans released him
Prayers
in
up to
August
his
of
family. I think it was with his
2024.
dad or something.
Farley was picked up by the Panthers this past year and actually played 9 games for them down the stretch of the 2024 season and started in a game 2. Unfortunately, Caleb Farley only played in 12 games as a Titan and was picked on quite a bit when he was on the field. Whenever you have high-risk players in the draft, there's times where they work out like Jeffrey Simmons, who suffered a injury in the pre-draft process, and there's times where they don't. I wish the best for Caleb Farley, but unfortunately this
hope he get his shit together. But yeah, this definitely an F
Pay
game.
for the Colts is up, and in
Kwity
draft
Paye?
class with
What
guys
the
like
fuck?
Michael
Why he got his
Parsons,
helmet
Greg
on
Rousseau,
backwards, man?
and Jalen Phillips. You may be surprised to know that Kwity Paye is actually second in the class in sacks with 26.5 in the first 4 years.
I ain't even know that. See, that's the crazy thing. Like, they don't really be talking about Colts players like that other than DeForest Buckner. Like, I don't really be hearing nothing about Colts players, gang.
But I thought that was
So I've been really trying to figure out what's been going on with
Kwity
Kwity Paye, because I ain't been hearing nothing about him.
First to tell you how frustrated they've been with Kwity Paye at times. Paye had a career-high 37 pressures in 2024, and while that's not bad by any means, it's not what they were envisioning when they were on the clock.
I ain't gonna lie, stop
overall
cut
pick
that
a couple
shit.
of years ago. Paye is a pretty solid run defender, and he's an okay number 2 pass rusher.
Yeah, 8 sacks this year.
We are far enough into his career at this point to realize who he is as a player and realize he will never be a 65 or 70 pressure a year player consistently that teams legitimately have to game plan around. He will have a role in the NFL for quite some time, but the old saying of about a third of first-round picks are stars, a third are average, and a third are busts applies to Kwity, with him being an average pass rusher. He's not an awful player, but he's certainly not close to being a top 15 or 20 edge rusher either. But Indy could have done a lot worse with this pick, and 4 years later, this gets a C.
Okay.
Kadarius Toney was the Giants' first-round pick, and obviously we know
he was another one of those players that had so much potential, gang. So much fucking potential.
Game he played for the Chiefs during the
like when he got traded, he wasn't bad for the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? He helped them win a ring. He got the longest punt return in Super Bowl history. He scored a touchdown. But like, his hands are made of bricks, bro. Like real shit.
My frustration with
nigga got brick hands.
Toney himself going in the first round,
and then he got a whole bunch of off-field shit going on.
It was an extremely poor kept secret.
He choked out somebody.
They
like,
not only drafted a bust rather than drafting Devontae Smith, who signed a second contract with the Eagles, by the way, but they also had the double whammy of the Eagles trading directly in front of them to go get Devontae Smith. I credit the Giants for acquiring another first-round pick when they were on the clock at pick 11, but this was a poor process to begin with when you think of the simple goal of the NFL draft, which is to acquire as much talent as you can. Toney was eventually traded to the Chiefs midway through his second season, and again, I do credit the Giants for receiving a third trading him, and if you want to...
This nigga don't even got 1,000 yards in his career, bro. Oh my gosh.
Bump this grade up ever so slightly for the Giants receiving a day 2 pick back for Kadarius Toney, be my guest, but he finished his Giants tenure with 41 receptions for 420 yards and 0 receiving touchdowns as a first-round pick. 4 years later, this is Jamin Davis was the Commanders' first-round pick in 2021, and prior
I forgot where he's at now.
Washington, they were not.
He was so disappointed.
For several reasons, and drafting.
I think he on the Saints, I believe. Now that I think about it, I think he on the Saints.
There was a 3-year span where Washington's first-round picks were Jamin Davis, Jahan Dotson, and Emmanuel Forbes, all of which are no longer on the roster. And Davis
or
and
Chase
Forbes
Young,
were both flat-out released. Jamin Davis in particular is frustrating.
Hey, they finally started to hit on they picks as of lately.
He's not just an above-average athlete. No, he tested in the 95th percentile or better in the 10-yard split, the 40, the broad jump, and the vertical jump, as he had a 42-inch vertical, which is downright insane. But linebacker is a position where instincts matter more than athleticism, and there's, of course, a threshold for athleticism, but instincts ultimately matter more.
Facts.
And Jamin Davis is a good example of this. Now, while he is a draft disappointment, he did rack up over 300
hope he have a breakout season this year, because he was definitely disappointing this past season
for Washington, meaning he is far from an F grade, especially compared to some other players in this class, and that's why we ultimately went with a D+. Jalen Phillips of the
Phillips,
Dolphins is up,
it's
and
an A.
I'll be honest, this was one of the more difficult picks to grade.
He got to stay healthy too, though, bro. That's the thing with him. He got to stay healthy.
Remember, Jalen Phillips was forced to medically retire at a point during college, and there was significant risk in drafting Jalen Phillips.
Like the talent-wise, this is an A for sure.
In the first years of his career, and looked like he was a budding star. He had 8.5 sacks as a rookie and had 7 in his second season, but believe it or not, more than doubled his pressures in 2022 despite having less sacks. But 2023 was not a good year for Phillips as he suffered a torn Achilles in the Black Friday game against the Jets, which prematurely ended his season. He had 6.5 sacks in 8 games and looked good. And injuries happened, but he was ready.
6.5 sacks in 8 games, really good.
I was ready for Jalen to have a big year and was rooting for him, but unfortunately he suffered another season-ending injury in Week 4 against the Titans.
It's still got to be an A. Like, it's not really his fault that he got hurt. It's just unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's such a talented player, and I feel like him and Chop Robinson, you know what I'm saying, along with some other rotational guys. You know, I think Muhammad Kamara they drafted him last year. That rotation will be deadly in the next couple years as long as they can stay healthy. Like, real shit.
In just 12 of the last 34 possible games and has now missed 32% of his career games. I'm a huge Jalen Phillips fan, and based on his talent alone, I think this grade is an A, but I think with injuries factored in,
it's fair, but
B.
Alex
Leatherwood was
F,
the Raiders'
bro.
first round pick, and
Gosh, bro. This nigga right here, bro. I had a lot of faith in him, you know, being an Alabama fan, bro, but this nigga was so disappointing. Like, real shit. So disappointing.
Leatherwood himself was not a bad prospect, as he was a consensus early to mid-second round prospect, but why everyone groaned when this pick was made was a clearly better prospect was available at the same position in Christian Darrisaw. Unfortunately, Leatherwood's play during his rookie year confirmed why everyone was upset.
They probably just looked at, you know what I'm saying, the school that he went to. You know, and he played really good at Bama too. Don't get me wrong.
65
but like,
708 pass blocking snaps.
He was definitely not the best offensive line prospect in this draft class.
As in plural, where he allowed 2 sacks and actually had a game against the Chiefs where he registered a pass blocking grade of 0.0 from PFF. He split time between right tackle and right guard during his rookie year, and it did not work out for the Raiders. Believe it or not, Leatherwood was actually released prior to his second season starting, meaning he wasn't traded for a 7th round pick. He was flat out released. He has bounced around a few practice squads, but has not played.
Oh, wait, what?
Was actually released prior to his second season starting.
Bro, why though? Like, gang, I understand. Like, he's a rookie. Of course, you're gonna have some struggles with a rookie, my nigga. But before his second season, you really gonna release him? A 1st round pick? Like, I would understand if it was like a 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick, gang. But, bro,
meaning he wasn't even traded for a 7th round pick. He was flat out released. He has bounced around a few practice squads, but has not played in an NFL game since 2022. And this grade is...
Who knows if he would have had a breakout year, gang?
Like and subscribe, is only about 46% of people watching are subscribed. It helps the channel tremendously.
Nah, this is a W vid, gang. Shit, I want to know what you guys think. Well, yeah, let me know what other NFL videos I'm to react to. Without further ado, I'm out.
I'ma make them feel me, make them people when they chow me. And if you don't know me, I'ma make sure that you know me. I hate to say it, but I really think I'm broke. But I know I'm chosen, I really know I'm chosen. I know I'm chosen. I was just lost a year ago, but now I'm focused. When good at sports, this microphone can be my trophy. Not taking drugs, I found a better way of coping.